High in the Himalayas, nestled among towering peaks, lay the village of Shantinagar. This village, with its quaint houses and winding paths, seemed like a place out of a fairy tale. The villagers lived in harmony with nature, their lives intertwined with the rhythms of the earth and sky. It was a place of simple beauty where life moved at the pace of the seasons. Spring brought blossoms and the songs of birds, while summer was a time of warmth and growth. Autumn painted the village in hues of gold and red, and winter wrapped it in a blanket of snow, making it a serene wonderland. But overshadowing the village's tranquility was the dense forest at its edge. This forest, with its towering trees and thick underbrush, was a place of mystery and legend. The villagers spoke of it in hushed tones, sharing stories of strange sounds and eerie sights. Locals called it Whispering Woods, for the wind seemed to carry secrets through its ancient trees. On quiet nights one could hear the rustling leaves and the soft murmurs that seemed almost like voices. Some said the forest was alive, whispering tales of old to those who would listen. In a cozy cottage at the forest's edge lived Rishikesh and Revansh. Their home, with its warm hearth and welcoming aura, was a sanctuary from the mysteries of the woods. They had built a life together, filled with love and mutual respect. Rishikesh, with his gentle eyes and warm smile, was the village artist. He painted the landscapes of Shantinagar, capturing its beauty on canvas. His art was a reflection of his soul, serene and full of life. Revansh, strong and stoic, was a woodcutter. He spent his days in the forest, chopping wood and gathering resources for the village. His strength was matched by his quiet determination, and he was respected by all who knew him. Their love was a quiet melody, echoing the peace of their surroundings. They found joy in the simple things, a shared meal, a walk through the village, or a quiet evening by the fire. Their bond was strong, a testament to their deep connection, yet even love could not keep the shadows from the Whispering Woods at bay. As night fell, the forest seemed to come alive with unseen forces. Shadows crept among the trees, and the whispers grew louder, filling the air with a sense of foreboding. The air grew colder as the sun began to set, casting long fingers of darkness across their little cottage. The once warm and inviting home now seemed vulnerable to the encroaching night. The villagers would often light candles and say prayers, hoping to keep the darkness at bay. A sudden gust of wind rattled the windows, and an unsettling silence fell over the forest. It was as if the woods were holding their breath, waiting for something to happen. The villagers knew that the Whispering Woods held many secrets, and not all of them were meant to be uncovered.
You're back early. The forest felt different today.
Rishikesh sat by the fire, sketching in his notebook. The warm glow of the flames danced in his eyes. He looked up as Revansh entered, his face flushed from the day's work.
Different how?
Rishikesh smiled, his fingers tracing the lines of Revansh's face in his notebook.
Colder and quieter, like the forest itself was holding its breath.
Revansh sat beside him, their shoulders brushing. Deep within the Whispering Woods, hidden among the twisted branches and gnarled roots, something stirred. It wasn't the rustling of leaves or the chirping of crickets. It was ancient, powerful, and utterly inhuman. A pair of crimson eyes opened, glowing like embers in the gathering darkness. A figure rose from the shadows, its skin as pale as moonlight, its features striking yet unnervingly cold. It moved with an unnatural grace, its long black coat billowing behind it like a shroud. Akash the vampire had awoken, and with his awakening, the very heart of the Whispering Woods began to tremble. The next evening, as the sky turned a fiery orange, a stranger appeared at the edge of the village. He was tall and handsome, with piercing blue eyes and an air of quiet confidence. His name, he said, was Akash. He spoke with a voice that was smooth as velvet, captivating the villagers with his tales of distant lands.
He seems charming.
Rishikesh and Revansh watched from a distance, their hands intertwined.
Yes, but there's something strange about him.
Revansh nodded, his gaze unwavering, a sense of unease settling in his gut. Later that night, as the moon hung high in the sky, Revansh found himself drawn to the Whispering Woods. The allure of the forest was irresistible, a magnetic pull that he couldn't explain. It was as if the very essence of the woods was calling out to him, beckoning him to uncover its secrets. The forest seemed to call to him, whispering his name on the wind. Each rustle of the leaves, each creak of the branches seemed to form words that only he could hear. It was a haunting melody, a siren song that promised both danger and discovery.
The forest, it's calling me. I can feel it in my bones, in my very soul. It's like a voice that I can't ignore, a compulsion that drives me forward.
He ventured deeper into the woods than he ever had before, the trees closing in around him like iron bars. The deeper he went, the darker it became, the moonlight barely penetrating the thick canopy above. Every step was a struggle, every breath a challenge, as if the forest itself was testing his resolve. Suddenly he stopped, his breath catching in his throat. The air around him grew colder, and an eerie silence fell over the woods. It was as if the forest was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. Standing before him was Akash, his blue eyes burning with an unnatural light. The glow was mesmerizing, almost hypnotic, and Revanche felt a chill run down his spine. Akash's presence was both comforting and terrifying, a paradox that Revanche couldn't comprehend.
You should not be here. This place is not safe for you. Turn back while you still can.
Akash hissed, his voice like ice shards. The words cut through the silence, sharp and clear, leaving no room for doubt. Revanche knew that Akash was not just warning him, but also testing his courage.
This forest holds many dangers. It is a place of shadows and secrets, where even the bravest souls can lose their way. Be cautious, for not everything is as it seems.
The air crackled with energy, sending shivers down Revanche's spine. He could feel the power of the forest all around him, a living, breathing entity that watched his every move. The mist swirled at his feet, and the shadows seemed to dance in the corners of his vision. Revanche knew that he was not alone, and that the true test was only just beginning.
Akash stepped closer, his gaze piercing Revanche's soul. Love, he spat, the word leaving a bitter taste in the air. A useless, fleeting emotion. It has no place in this world. Revanche stood his ground, his fear giving way to anger. What do you know of love? He challenged, his voice echoing through the silent trees. Akash let out a humorless laugh, the sound chilling Revanche to the bone. I have seen love destroy countless lives, he snarled. It makes you weak, vulnerable, and I have no tolerance for weakness. You are wrong, Revanche said, his voice unwavering. Love is not weakness, it is strength. It gives us the courage to face anything. He thought of Rishikesh, his gentle touch, his warm smile. And in that moment, Revanche knew he would face any danger to protect their love. Akash narrowed his eyes, his lips curling into a cruel smile. So be it, he hissed. Then let me show you the true face of despair. He lunged at Revanche, his pale hand outstretched, claws extended like daggers.
The forest held its breath as Revanche met Akash's attack. But just as Akash was about to strike, a brilliant light erupted from within Revanche, bathing the forest in its warmth. It was a love so pure, so powerful that it burned like the sun.
Akash stumbled back, shielding his eyes from the blinding light. What is this? He roared, his voice laced with both rage and fear.
Revanche stood tall, his heart pounding with the combined love for Rishikesh and the will to protect him. He understood now their love was their greatest weapon. The light intensified, driving Akash back into the shadows. The forest seemed to come alive with the pulsating energy of the light, each beam cutting through the darkness like a knife. Akash, who had always been fearless, felt an unfamiliar sense of dread creeping into his heart. He had ventured into these woods countless times, but never had he encountered such a powerful force. The light was not just a physical entity, it seemed to probe into his very soul, exposing his deepest fears and insecurities. He vanished with a shriek, consumed by the very force he sought to destroy. His scream echoed through the forest, a haunting reminder of the battle that had just taken place. The trees, which had stood as silent witnesses, now seemed to whisper among themselves, sharing the tale of Akash's downfall. The light, having fulfilled its purpose, began to recede, leaving behind an eerie silence. The forest once again was cloaked in darkness, but it was a different kind of darkness, one that carried the weight of the recent events. As the light subsided, Revanche found himself back in the familiar embrace of the forest. The air was thick with the scent of pine and earth, grounding him in the reality of his surroundings. He took a deep breath, feeling the tension slowly leave his body. The forest, which had always been a place of solace for him, now felt even more precious. He knew that the events of the night had changed him, but he also felt a renewed sense of purpose. He had faced the darkness and emerged stronger. He raced back to Rishikesh, their reunion filled with relief and an even deeper love. Forever bound by their encounter with the darkness, the embrace they shared was not just a physical one. It was a merging of their souls, a silent promise to stand by each other no matter what. The forest around them seemed to celebrate their reunion, the leaves rustling softly as if in approval. They knew that their bond had been tested and had emerged unbreakable. The darkness had tried to tear them apart, but it had only brought them closer. The whispering woods stood silent, the secrets it held now a testament to the enduring power of love. The moonlight filtered through the canopy, casting a gentle glow on the forest floor. The shadows danced in the soft light, creating an almost magical atmosphere. The woods, which had once been a place of fear and mystery, now felt like a sanctuary. The events of the night had left their mark, but they had also revealed the true strength of the human spirit. The forest would forever hold the memory of that night, a silent witness to the power of love and courage. The village of Shantinagar, once shrouded in fear, was bathed in the golden light of a new dawn. The villagers, who had spent the night in anxious anticipation, now stepped out of their homes, greeted by the warmth of the morning sun. The air was filled with the sounds of birds chirping and the gentle rustle of leaves. The fear that had gripped the village was now replaced with a sense of hope and renewal. The events of the night had brought the community closer, reminding them of the strength they possessed when they stood together. Love had triumphed, and the memory of that night would forever serve as a beacon of hope, reminding them that even in the darkest of times, love's light shines the brightest. Rivansh and Rishikesh, hand in hand, walked through the forest, their hearts filled with gratitude and love. They knew that the journey ahead would not be easy, but they also knew that they had each other. The light that had once been a source of fear was now a symbol of their unbreakable bond. The forest, the village, and their love had all been forever changed, bound together by the events of that fateful night.